all know Allyson Felix, obviously. One of the most.
The most. She's the most decorated
Olympian
track
of all
and
time.
field.
So I just want to go back just for a second. When did you start running? I mean, were you like, hey, do you want to race me at like 7 and just running down the street? Or
I actually wasn't. And
really?
I had a different start than most Olympians. I kind of stumbled into it. I literally did not find track and field until I was in high school. And the only reason that I found it was because I was at a new school and I didn't know anybody. And my dad and my brother were like, well, you should go out for the track team to like make friends. I'm like, okay, all right.
Wow.
And so I did, and I fell in love with the sport. I found those friends, but then
Did you find out you were faster than the kids who've been running since they were 7?
I found out I was pretty fast, yeah.
But you had never done any sort of...
Just like backyard races and like field days and things like that. You know, I knew it was quick, but I had never done anything in an organized fashion.
And when did you discover that you were not just fast, but Olympic fast?
It was like the middle of high school. It happened very quickly. The middle of high school, my coach, he would enter me in these races with professionals. And I started winning them. And so then it was kind of a whirlwind from then on. And since that point that I started track to my first Olympics was a little over 4 years.
So tell me, do you remember your first Olympic race? Like, take me to the first time.
Yeah, my first Olympics, it was in Athens. Everything was new. I was 18 years old. I didn't know what to expect. It was fun. And the thing I remember most, I ran my heart out. I got a silver medal. And as an 18-year-old, I was very disappointed because, you know, I came for gold.
Wow.
And I remember that, you know, we got the flags and everyone was doing the victory laps. And my mom met me on the other side and she was like, so disappointed. She was like, you didn't do your victory lap. And I had never been to the Olympics before. I did not know that, you know, all top 3 get to do a victory lap.
Yeah.
So she was not happy with me.
But you didn't miss a victory lap after that.
No. I was always on that lap.
Of all of the high moments of your career, all the highlights, and there are many, is there one that sort of stands out?
Definitely. I would have to say Tokyo, my last Olympics. And it's surprising because for me, it wasn't my most successful, but it was the most meaningful. I overcame a lot of adversity to get there. And for the first time, I stood on that line and it wasn't about the medal. It wasn't about the time. It was about being a representation for women and mothers. And I got to do it in my own shoes also. So it's pretty cool.
So for people who may not know your journey specifically, talk to me about the steps. So your first Olympics, you were 18.
Yeah, I think as time went on, you know, when you're 18 and there are no expectations, there's not that much pressure. That shifts very quickly. My next Olympics, you know, I was the favorite. I was expected to win. I was navigating life as a college student at USC and also a professional athlete traveling the world. And so I think it got heavy and I got another silver medal at my second Olympics and I was not happy. So I think just navigating disappointment and defeat and coming back from that. And then I kept going and just life kept happening. And then I started a family and I went through that whole ordeal, not really being supported through that. And fighting through that hardship. And so that last and final Olympics was really about overcoming and saying that women deserve better. We deserve better support. And so it just, I don't know. I think each games taught me a new lesson.
When you said not being supported when you were pregnant, what do you mean by that?
I went through a whole ordeal, a fight over maternity protections. I had been sponsored by Nike for almost a decade. And when I decided to start a family, something that had been happening in our sport for so long is that women, their contracts were being paused. A lot of women hid their pregnancies out of fear that they would not secure a new contract. And so I found myself in that same position. I hid my pregnancy. I trained at 4 o'clock in the morning when it was still dark. And eventually, my fight really turned towards asking for protection around maternity. And what that means is for track and field, our contracts are performance-based. So you go to the Olympics or World Championships, you get a bonus. You don't go, you get a reduction. But if you're pregnant during that time, or if you just had a baby, there was nothing in place to protect you. And so what was happening is women were being reduced and pushed out of the sport. And so I didn't think that was okay, and I spoke up and shared my truth. I ended up walking away from the company because of that. But 3 weeks later, after I came out with an op-ed in the New York Times, they changed their policy. And so, yeah. Yeah, today they offer 18 months for all female athletes, and other companies as well came forward and changed their policies.
Any regrets?
I mean, I wish it didn't take such a fight to make that happen, but I think, it led me to where I'm supposed to be. I parted ways. I decided to make my own shoes, and I got to run in them in the Olympics. And I think the thing that means the most to me is I get to tell my daughter about this, and I get to share with her that when you... Yeah, just that you need to stand up for what you believe in, and that it's not always about you. A lot of times it's about doing something for others and for the next generation. Through the whole journey, I've known that one day I'll get to share with her, but she's been that motivation. And even just speaking out on this, that's something that's so far from comfortable for me. But I think just looking at her and thinking about the world that she's going to grow up in, that's what gave me that courage.
That's amazing.
Let's talk about this retirement that you announced last fall. What's the retirement chapter been like so far?
Oh, it's been interesting. It's been really challenging. I mean, I love the work that I'm doing now, and I feel so fulfilled. But I think the reality of waking up and not having the structure of training. I would wake up and I would train for 5 hours a day.
Wait, can you pause there and can you tell us about that? I'm really curious.
Yeah.
How does that work? So when you were in the thick of it.
Yeah. Wake up, have a pretty normal breakfast, pretty
time?
Simple. Nothing crazy. My coach was never a morning person, and I was grateful for
Okay.
that. So I'd have a pretty normal day. I would get to training probably around 9, and I would do 3 hours on the track.
What does that mean? What are you doing?
So warming up, and then you get to the meat and potatoes of the workout, whether that's conditioning, reps on the track, 600, 400, 300,
How
block
many times a week?
workout. You got to go every day.
Oh, every day.
Oh,
I was like, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Okay.
Oh.
You would have a recovery day.
every day.
Single day.
On Wednesday, you would have a recovery day, and so that's a day where you see the massage therapist, the chiropractor. You might go for a longer type run. I'm a sprinter, so for me, a long run is about 20 minutes. So yeah, and then after that, I would go to the gym for a couple hours.
After that?
Every day.
Yeah.
This is why she's the fastest in the world. So you do that. You would go to the gym, and then you come home and what?
Yeah, and then recover. So ice bath, stretching, making sure that your body can take on, another day of that.
Wow.
And then, yeah.
And you do that for how many years?
Yeah, 20 years.
20 years.
No wonder you retired.
So then what did it feel like after you announced your retirement to wake up, whatever the morning was, that it was the first morning, you didn't have to do that?
It felt really good and freeing, and I remember just also being able to just eat what I wanted and not having any restrictions. I'm a snacker. I just love food in general, so that part was great.
So, do you still run?
I do, yeah. I think it's
Not like that, though.
Not as intense. I think I'm actually struggling with that part a little bit, just because I am switching from this competition mode to just everyday life, and that's been hard. Oftentimes I'll find myself at the track just going through a brutal workout. I'm like, oh wait, I don't have to do this.
Wow.
I don't have to be here right now. So I'm finding new things, new ways to exercise, but it's a lifestyle and it's just a part of me.
Does your little girl like to run?
Yes, she does. She likes to do kind of all things. I'm trying to push her away from track as long as I can. It's a tough sport, so we do all the things though. Yeah. Soccer and dance, and we just do a little bit of everything.
Tennis now, you've taken up tennis.
Yeah.
So how did that happen?
Well, so my daughter is taking tennis lessons, and I was like, I think I should just try to understand the game a little bit. So I'm just at the very front end starting lessons. But just seeing her do things, I was like, I can try new things. I've done something for 20 years. I think I've just been out of the practice of trying things. So.
How old is she now?
She's 4.
Does she, I guess 4 is young, but does she have any idea that mommy is the most successful American track and field athlete ever? Does she know?
I think she has no idea. I think she just is like, Mom, do you have my snack? What are we doing today? Those are the important things to her.
Talk to me a little bit about wellness, what it was like maybe when you were training, but even just now.
I think I just have such an appreciation for it, and it's been such a part of my life. I think I have a deeper appreciation for it now, just as a mother, but starting my day with my gratitude notebook and just...
You do that? Yeah, tell us the details.
Yeah, I actually started during the pandemic just because I felt myself starting off my day not with the the positive vibes that I wanted to. And there's just so much to be grateful for. So I just jot down like 3 things that I'm grateful for, and they can be anything. And it just kind of sets the tone for my day, and I get going from there.
You also actually do these verbal affirmations with your little girl.
I'm special.
I'm special.
I'm smart.
I'm smart.
I can do hard things.
I can do hard things.
I'm going to have a good day.
I'm going to have a good day.
I just want her to be confident and empowered. And so every morning when we're going off to school, we just kind of repeat little things, whether it's like, I'm a good listener, I'm a good friend, I'm kind. And she's really taken to them now. She's like, if I forget, she's like, Mom, we didn't do our affirmations. So she keeps me accountable.
I love that. I love that. All right, so talk to me about your entrepreneur hat. So when did you say, you know what, maybe I can start my own sneaker line? Like, when did that happen for you?
I mean, it was completely organic. I was in the trenches of everything, and I was having a conversation with my brother who I work with, and I was just really venting to him and telling him I was tired of begging companies to see my worth and my value. And at this point, I had been to 4 Olympics. I couldn't find another footwear sponsor, and so he was like, we should do this ourselves. I felt that he was right. Like, here's an opportunity for us to create change instead of asking somebody else to do it. And when we went down that path, we learned what we thought we were doing was creating shoes for me to wear in the Olympics. But then we learned that sneakers have not been made for women, and they're made off of a mold of a foot, and it's the mold of a man's foot. And once we learned that, we're like, this has got to change. And so our shoes are completely made to fit the form of the female foot. And we just try to do things different. We're for and by women, and so I love that I get to wake up and do that every day.
That's awesome.
That's amazing.
The name, though, Seiche, what's the story there?
So Seiche is a type of wave. We spell it phonetically, but the Seiche wave is found in enclosed bodies of water. And when atmospheric pressure brings the water to one side, it's the Seiche wave that restores balance. And so that's what we want to be. You know, we don't believe there's ever been balance in the marketplace, but that's what we strive to do.
That just gave me chills. What has this experience in your journey this far, what has it taught you that you know for sure?
Yeah, I think it's shown me my strength and just my power. I think before I would have been terrified to speak up or to build something. And I think it's just shown me what I can actually do and that I can bring change into this world. And that keeps me motivated and going. And it's been an amazing journey and lessons learned.
Hey, NBC News viewers, thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking on that button down here and click on any of the videos over here to watch the latest interviews, show highlights, and digital exclusives. Thanks for watching.